art director Chris Ducote and our sound director Chris Marks for helping us to make this amazing game today. So let me give you an idea of what Robot Revolt's about. Oh, well, let me introduce my team first, because they are very important in our game. We have our asset lead, Austin McCoy, our QA lead, Ryan Harding, design lead, Josh Burdette, tech lead, Chris Thatcher, and gameplay lead, Ryan Correia. So Robot Revolt is a tactical first-person shooter, or an FPS. It's tactical in that you need to use an intelligent approach to the way you progress through our game. The whole game's based in an abandoned factory, so there's plenty of crates and barrels and just plenty of rusted material all around the whole entire game. And your main objective is to get to the central computer that's producing this massive amount of angry robots that are trying to destroy mankind. Here is one of the first robots that you'll come in contact with, is the assault robot, which mainly just has a machine gun attached to its arm. Also, you'll run into the rocket robot, which has a rocket launcher, and the spider-looking robot here is our tank bot, which is main purpose is to just ram into you and keep you from getting to the other robots. Along the way, you'll have these weapons that you'll be able to shoot with, of course. Here on your left is our basic assault rifle, which shoots plain machine gun ammo. On the bottom is our magnetic rifle, and on the top is our magnetic pistol, which I'll go into more now. The magnetic pistol is a very powerful weapon. It can be used both offensively and defensively. It takes a second to get a full charge on it, but you can hold it there once you have it fully charged and use it as kind of a shield against oncoming ammo. Here you can see it was just showing a picture of deflecting some regular machine gun ammo and then also reflecting rocket ammo. This is good. You can shoot it down a narrow hallway and run behind it and kind of take cover so that you can keep going forward without having the massive amounts of rockets and machine gun ammo coming at you and killing you. One of my favorite effects to use with this is shooting the magnet pistol up into the air and switching to my assault rifle and blasting into it to create kind of a raining effect of bullets down on all the enemies below. The next special weapon we have is the magnetic rifle. This shoots a small magnet to whatever surface you're intending, the walls, the floors, any of the crates, and especially the robots. Here you can see the small triangle on the front face of the robot is the magnet. It creates the similar effect to the magnetic pistol, only any ammunition that enters into this sphere gets automatically attracted. So I attach the magnet, and as I back up and fire at it, it provides a quick kill so you can make your way farther into the game. It also creates a cool effect when you shoot it on certain spots of robots. Here we have a rocket robot, which I attach the magnet to the arm. And when the rocket robot tries to fire at me, of course, it's not going to leave that sphere that's surrounding it, and it just keeps orbiting until it finally hits it, which gets a little bit fun at times. But now that you have an idea of what the game's about, I'll go into what each of us did. My name is Seyfors. As I mentioned, I was the project lead for our team, and my main responsibilities had to do with transitioning between states, working on the menus in the game, putting the story in the game, but most importantly, keeping track of everyone's schedule. The Gantt chart is very critical in the final project process. Every team has to do a Gantt chart, but it's up to how you handle it to see what needs to be done, what has been done, and maybe you can anticipate anything that you weren't thinking about. This covers the entire project. We have to do it at the beginning, and we basically list out every member's tasks for what they need to do over the 5-month period, so that we can meet all of our milestones and get a good grade in the end, as well as a final product. Here you can see some of the tasks, just a very small amount of the tasks on this chart. We go into detail of all the way from just studying how we're going to do something to actually doing it to cleaning it up at the end. Those would be 3 different tasks maybe at minimum. And as they complete it through daily team meetings, I was able to update their progress so that the other team members can see this chart and be aware of where other people are in their work. this was good because through the daily team meetings, we were able to see like there was a few problems where we would be working, and then all of a sudden we would forget that we needed something, and we were able to put stuff on hold, move it aside, rearrange tasks so that everyone could get the work done that we needed so that we can get everything finished. But now that you have an idea of like how we laid out all of our tasks, let's go more into design with our design lead, Josh Burdette.
Thank you, Thomas. As he said, my name is Josh Burdette. I worked on the 3D sound, the level loading, and the Xbox 360 controller input for our game. But what I'm going to talk to you guys today about is our 3D sound, because that's what I have the most fun with. So, as we all know, in any kind of game, or movie, or any kind of visual entertainment, you can't just have video. You have to have sound as well, or else it's nowhere near as immersive. But the problem is, if you have sound and it's only 2D, and all you're really going to get is having everything being flat. And the problem is, if the world's flat, then you're going to end up falling off of it. As you can see in our lovely diagram here. The problem with this is, well, I think it's pretty obvious. So it may lead for some interesting stories at the end of the day, but I would suggest not having a flat world. So, to explain all this for you, say that you are sitting here in this chair and you are the listener, and each of these speakers are going to be emitters, which they naturally are because the sounds come out of them. But you guys have already heard a lot about sound today, 3D sound already, so we're going to kick this up a notch, and we are going to replace our speakers with some killer robots. So, once these guys come out here, we're going to give each of them a speaker. But the problem with this now is that we're still using 2D sound, so all they're going to do is they're just going to sit here and they're going to say any noise that they make, they're just going to all sound like they're on top of each other. You can't really tell where they're coming from, just a big noisy mess. So what we actually do, we move all these speakers for each of the robots to where they are in 3D space, and then you will get each of them to be able to tell where they are, whether it be beside you, in front of you, left, right. No matter where they are, it sounds correct because you're the listener and they're actually playing the sounds from where they're supposed to be. Here's an effect to give you an example of this. Alright, in order to do this, I used the Fmod API, and I worked with Mr. Rafsad and Keegan Smelter in order to do this. We worked pretty well together, put a lot of time into it, but Fmod did help us out, made it a lot easier. We used the listeners' emitters, and everything went pretty smoothly with all of our sound thanks to that. But the problem with all this is that if you don't have a video in a video game, then it's not too much of a video game. So more on how he made our game look pretty, Mr. Austin McCoy.
Thank you, Josh. As he mentioned, I'm Austin McCoy, and I was the asset lead for Roid Pandas. As asset lead, some of my responsibilities were to communicate with our asset team, our awesome asset team, Chris Ducote and Chris Marks, and get any resources back from them. I also worked on animation, rendering, and a lot of the effects for our game. But today I'm going to talk to you about our usage of FBOs, or frame buffer objects, for drawing the weapons and hands to the screen. FPS players may be familiar that in multiplayer first-person shooters, the player's guns and hands can't ever go through the level geometry, or like go through the level or clip through the level like you can see behind me. But sometimes other players can have their guns go through the level. This is because the first player, the main player, is their guns are drawn to a frame buffer object and then drawn to the screen. So here is our game without using FBOs for the weapons. You can see the gun goes right through the wall. It doesn't really look correct. And now I can draw with an FBO. You can see the gun looks more correct and doesn't go through the wall. To think of an FBO, imagine it as a secondary screen that we can't see, the player can't see, but we can still draw to that. And we can still draw everything to the regular screen and then draw what we want to the FBO. So we draw our entire level and everything else in the game to this normal screen, and then we draw our guns in hand to the frame buffer object, and then just layer them over on top to get the desired effect. that takes care of the graphical side of our weapons, but to take care of